Welcome to Let's Talk Luxury, the Mazars podcast series about how and why luxury brands are undergoing a business model makeover. In each episode, luxury experts discuss what's happening in the sector, from authenticity to circularity, new customer cohorts to retail experiences worth posting about. The luxury business model is changing, and in this series we'll explore how to stay in vogue. So, let's talk luxury. Hello everyone, today we are on the clock with Antonio Carriero, who is the Chief Digital and Technology Officer at Breitling. It's great to have you on the podcast, Antonio.
Thank you a lot, thank you for having me.
Great to have you. So, in the context of a well-known watchmaker like Breitling, some of our listeners might be less familiar with what a Chief Technology and Digital Officer does. Could you describe your role and give us an idea of the technology you're working and experimenting with?
Sure, happily. The Chief Digital and Technology role is a new function that is blending, I would say, the classical IT capabilities on which the company has been built and operating for many years, and the new capability driven by technology and digital technology when it's about consumer engagement and developing new business opportunities. So the idea of this role is that we cannot build a future without taking into account the legacy, and we cannot run or improve the legacy without having an outlook of what will be the future in terms of executing the operating model of the company that is covering the entire value chain from the product development into the customer engagement. So this role is combining these two capabilities. I also in charge or owner of the e-commerce P&L, of course in collaboration with the commercial team, but I'm building the platform, or my team and we are building the platform, but also accountable for reaching a sales objective, which I think is a very good combination between efficiency, what is about the better managing and improving the classical IT capability, and on the other hand, also developing new revenue stream by using a new digital technology in a better way. So that's the role that I'm combining. And of course, the team is also in charge of building a mobile application for sales staff, what you call augmenting the sales staff, the entire ecosystem of solution around WeChat for the Chinese market, and in the end also the blockchain activation from an operational perspective till what we call advanced CRM, using blockchain to connect with consumer.
And speaking of new technology, we've seen luxury leaders like Breitling identify new solutions for clients. You've said, for example, that Breitling will offer digital passports, which will soon give watch owners the opportunity to just subscribe to insurance for loss or theft. Why, in your view, are luxury leaders going beyond just selling products and entering these newer spaces?
Look, I think the responsibility of a brand goes beyond selling the product. I think we want to engage with our customer base, with our customers in a total way. So it means we have to provide to the consumer an ecosystem where the product is having, of course, the most important place and role, but you have to provide something on top of the product that will support this relation between the customer and the brand over time. I mean, if you use only the product, then the relation is about servicing the product. But if you build something on top of it, then we can get closer to the customer and build something that is based on the value that you want to share with the consumer. So in this ecosystem, knowing that today the intermediation between the brand and the consumer is happening already in the digital ecosystem of the customer, is where digital technology can play a very important role to augment the product and improve the relation between the customer and the brand. So technology for us is the real value of technology is empowering the customer. And when you buy a luxury product is to empower yourself. So there is for us a very clear connection between the two, and the two can go together.
And part of empowering customers seems to definitely now involve blockchain. Digital passports using a blockchain wallet are increasingly on offer to create a digital certificate of authenticity for the seller, but also the buyer. Are there any other uses for blockchain that you see on the horizon for Breitling and any other luxury businesses?
Yeah, look, we always talk about the three elements, which are transparency, traceability, and tradability. So if you think about transparency, I think is very important for the customer that is buying a luxury product, but not only, to have the full visibility on the upstream value chain. And we want this information in the blockchain because this cannot be modified or changed. It's there forever. When it's about the traceability, I think it's also part of the deal between the brand and the customer to tell the true story about the product, when it was produced, when it was first sold in, where this product was living his life before the purchase. And again, for me, is a commitment, a very respectful commitment towards the consumer from a brand. And the tradability is because we know that our product or luxury product, they have a second or a third life. So I think it's again a brand responsibility to provide the ecosystem, allowing the customer to transfer the ownership in a very safe way. But on top of it, also for the new buyers to have an ecosystem to be able to receive the ownership of a product with the full warranty that is buying an original product, in this case, a brand new one. Now, when you think about, in terms of added value, you think about a transaction. A transaction is a value, is a price. I mean, I buy a watch or I sell a watch. So, for example, we are thinking about injecting into the wallet real-time valuation of your product, which is the value of the product, but there is also a kind of impact of the trading around some references are very important. Also, this is to safeguard the customer initial investment, but also the new buyer that is paying a fair price. So everything that is simplifying your life as a customer of an owner of a operating watch, that we can build with the blockchain wallet capability we are going to activate.
Luxury businesses, just like nearly all businesses around the world, are trying to match the values of their customers, and sustainability and circularity are a big part of that. You've said in a recent Mazars publication that as people tend to keep and transmit their watches or pieces of jewellery, the industry is actually already quite circular. And then you go on to say your sustainability focus is around how to improve the environment products are made in. What kinds of environments are luxury businesses building to fulfill that objective and meet growing expectations of customers?
We live in the same world as our customers. We work on the same ground. We fly in the same space. I think what is very important to say that we speak less about what we do, but we do more than what we say. But for example, we are already compensating all our CO2 emissions. We have partnership, concrete one with a foundation to be able, for example, to recycle fish net and transform them into straps for our watches. Our production plant, all the energy is green energy. So we are really very concrete when it's about sustainability, and it's our responsibility globally as individuals that we bring into the brand itself. And I think values, when a brand is capable to really live the values that resonate in the customers, this will bring the brand very close to the consumer, and be much more easy than to develop a very long-term collaboration. This is something important that we do. On the other hand, we also know, as I said, as you correctly said, a product have a second or third life. Product will be transferred, but you also think about the existing product. And it's not only about creating new one with recycled steel or artificially grown diamonds to have a lower impact. It's not only about the new packaging that is upcycled, but we know that we have around in the world 1 million of our products. And those products, those owners, probably we can give a chance to those products to join a new dimension. Let me explain. So we are talking a lot about trade in, trade up, trade out. So the idea is to be able to buy back existing product or provide a platform to be able to trade in an existing Breitling for a new one, but in the same time, the new Breitling, we are going to also reintegrate into our concept of circular economy. And I think this is very important. We don't want product that stay just in a drawer and forgotten forever. This is bringing an additional capability to provide a new life to existing product. that already been produced. So the combination of all these is what is setting the scene from a brand perspective about sustainability. The way we work and we produce, but also the way we sell and we engage our customer base.
From what you've shared today, it's clear the industry is going through a period of significant change, not just in terms of new sales channels, but also the skills and capabilities that are needed to succeed. In your view, what skills do luxury houses and luxury brands need to succeed in the future?
Look, I'm a strong believer that it's important to continue to develop the skills already existing, by bringing new capability, new tools, but new challenges. Is a responsibility of the company to set the scene for improve the skills that you have. We want people that feel comfortable in the evolution of the trade, the business. So we have to bring this level of learning, top down, bottom up, whatever, that is keeping the people in a consistent way in the business. So I think that's the responsibility, and me, I'm a strong believer that the organization is the instrument to succeed. There is a need to bring people with a different perspective on things. I would say in each industry, it's good to have someone coming in from a different angle that is probably unlocking some potential that is not seen. Ideally, because from a transformation perspective, we are moving towards a direct-to-consumer, which was probably the weakest side in terms of distribution for the watch industry. Ideally, it's very interesting to have people coming from this very specific background. People that used to work for online pure players because they don't know what is the rest of the distribution. So they're really very focused on direct-to-consumer, or coming from telecom companies, which is also a very interesting example on how direct-to-consumer de facto is operating, even if it's highly regulated compared to what we do. So I found those profiles very interesting. In the watch industry, is what we call a low-frequency, high-value industry. You don't buy a watch every day or every week, unfortunately for us, but that's the reality of our business. If we come from a pure player, more on the consumer goods or fashion accessories or telecom, you have the chance to connect the customer every day. In our business, if you miss the first opportunity, then the risk that you lose the customer forever is very high. What we know that if you sell a watch to a customer, probably you sell a second one in a few years. And then you keep the customer in your, let's say, wide CRM. But if you miss the first opportunity, forget the second. Having said that, I'm talking about this, but what is behind the scene bottom line is about data, because all these are based on data analysis, data crunching, and we're doing a lot of it. And we do it not for the purpose of statistic. Data is critical to be able to engage when you are in a boutique, when you are online, engage with media to optimize your spending. So those skills around data that were missing a lot in our industry because we were focusing only on the production, and then the engagement was the responsibility of the retailers, the wholesaler business, is something that you have to build. So I would say we focus shifting a little bit from people that they have a strong understanding around the product, which is also, I would say, the classic marketing capability of product marketing, into something that goes more towards the customer in terms of understanding. And I would say for a winning brand, but to be successful in this, what is important is to have the right level of combination of skills on the product side, which are more the classical one, with an insight on the capability of the new technologies, and the skills coming more on the distribution, direct to consumer, and data driven, which is, by the way, somehow what I'm doing in my function, combining these two capability under the umbrella of the Chief Digital and Technology Officer.
Well, with time waiting for no man, I'd like to say thank you, Antonio, for joining us today and giving us a glimpse of what comes next in luxury technology.
Thank you a lot for the invitation. It's been a pleasure to talk to you today. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Let's Talk Luxury. To find out more about changes in the luxury sector, search Mazars Making Over the Luxury Business Model, or follow the link in the show notes. And to keep up with this series, subscribe on your favorite podcast app or go to mazars.com.